Hey guys, welcome in. It's time for 30 books in 30 weeks. I'm Marcy Batiste. I welcome you. I thank you for joining as you come in. We're talking about this book today. We're in week 6 of the 30, and we're talking about When God Winks and what the power of coincidence looks like and how it manifests itself in our lives. So as you guys are coming in, feel free to push the share button, push the invite button, and ask some folks to join us. If you are stopping by for the first time and you don't really know who I am or what this is all about, my name is Marcy Batiste. I'm a public speaker, I'm an author, and I'm a success and recovery trainer. And I do a couple of things. One, I always live life on Mars. 2, I'm sold out to my happiness. And 3, I love to help women shine. And I'm absolutely as sold out to that as I am to my happiness, because I truly believe that every woman has and holds within her what I call her star power. And so my goal in everything that I do is to help women discover that and fully embrace it so that they can go out into the world, shine on other people, and really truly spread that light, not allowing fears and flaws and failures and past pains ever dim their light. And so this community of women that we're building, the goal is to bring 1,000 women into this community this year and help them truly transform their life, their love, their businesses, whole 9 yards, and really truly raise the bar on everything that they feel that they already know that they are. So in addition to that, I have a training company called Bankable Success Advisors, and in that I work with businesses and individuals, and I help them optimize their personal and professional investments, whether it's time, energy, human capital. On the businesses, I do a lot of work with companies to do domestic violence and education awareness training, workplace violence training, and with individuals, particularly my ladies, I work with them on curing emotional bankruptcy. And that emotional bankruptcy is that thing that just holds us so locked in to all of the things from our past. And so this personal development series, it's a reading series that I started several months ago. This is 30 books in 30 weeks, but we're day 40 of that, but we're actually, I think about 100 days in, because it started back in November. So today's day 40. So we're actually might be at like 101 days of really truly sharing these personal development nuggets with you guys. And so it's exciting for me that you guys come in, you join the tribe, you hang out on the lives with me, we get a chat for a little bit. And so tonight we're talking about, all this week we've been talking about intuition and coincidence and how it manifests in our lives, and how so many times we overlook coincidences as being insignificant when really they are truly signs from a higher power. It's God's wink at you to say, here, try this. This is in line with what I want you to do. This is in line with the direction I'd like for you to go based on what your assignment you were sent here for. And so tonight I titled this, Don't Be Afraid to Color Outside the Lines. And so we were talking about, yesterday I shared a story about Oprah and how coincidence really played a huge part in her getting the role of The Color Purple. And truly that kind of was the launch for her to become what we now is Lady Oprah, Miss Oprah Winfrey. Like, she was just a local talk show host trying to get on a national stage at that point when she tried out and landed the role as Miss Sophia in The Color Purple. And there were a series of coincidences that led up to that, a series of God winks that led up to that. And so tonight I was reading in the book, and I was thinking like about how many different ways, like how does coincidence happen? Like, some people are really in tune to their surroundings, they're in tune to the world around them, they're in tune to their environment, they're very emotionally sensitive people. And so I was reading in the book, and they were sharing that intuition and creativity are both right brain functions. And so you have your right brain, which Look, I'm all backwards. This is my right. What hand do I write with? Yeah, this is my right. So the right brain actually is the piece that controls all the creativity. That's the one that's your kind of your artsy side. It's the side where you might be musically inclined. I'm a writer, so I love, to be able to write and to express myself verbally. So that creative side is kind of a right brain function. And then your left brain is more your logical. Just more your numbers people. It's things like your ability to reason. It's very logical thinking versus creative thinking when you're controlled by the right brain. And different people are driven by different hemispheres of the brain. That's a known fact. And so there was a doctor, Dr. Winter, I believe, the author quoted in the book, and he was talking about how it's not so much that coincidences don't happen to people who are controlled by the left brain. It's just that they're not as in tune to it. They're not as aware to it. They're not open to that creative side. And so along with the creativity comes that additional awareness to be aware of the things that go on around us. And so we're really in tune. Like I said, right side people are really in tune to the environment and what's going on around them. And so they tend to recognize when there are subliminal things happening. Hey Dale, what's going on? Hey Nicole. Thanks for joining me, guys. And so, that whole, as we're traveling down the highway of life, you have people that travel and they're just straight ahead. They're like, where am I going? How am I going to get there? This is the path. And then there's the people who are lollygaggers, who are daydreamers, who are, like la, 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 who, like I shared last night, don't walk past the color purple without noticing. And then there's the people that walk through and wouldn't even know that there was a field of flowers at their feet. And one's not better or worse than the other. It's just that when you are not in tune to the coincidences and the God wink, so to speak, then oftentimes opportunities can pass you by, or you're not as likely to act on them because you are more controlled by logic and reason. And reason would tell you, you can come up with 150 different logical reasons why something might not work, but there might only be one that just says, but I just feel like I need to do it. And that's that intuition. That's that gut feeling. That's that go with what you feel in your soul. Like if your soul is speaking to you and you are a left brain person, you're more likely to override that because you're like, there's no logical explanation for that. There's no logical reason why I would do that. So then we tend to shy away from it or turn away from it versus someone who's more open, more creative, driven will be like, oh, but my gut's telling me. I know that it doesn't seem like it makes sense, but my gut is telling me that this is what I have to do. This is what I need to be doing. And so there's a way that the author's saying that you can actually increase that intuition level. You can increase your creativity. You can increase your connection with those God winks, and you can learn to be better about attaching to these coincidences when they happen. And so I was just going to look, I made some notes. They're saying to farm your brain. And so one of the things we always talk about is brainstorming, right? And so the author suggests, and the doctor, Dr. Winters, suggested that brainstorming sessions actually improve your creativity. And so, but the struggle is then to not try and critique the idea. Oftentimes when we're in brainstorming, we're like, but yeah, but that doesn't make sense. Or yeah, but that won't work because X, Y, Z. So it's a two-part thing. One, you have to farm your brain for these additional ideas. You have to farm your brain for these creative things to do in life and business and family and all these different arenas. But then you have to condition yourself not to automatically disregard them because at first blush they don't make sense. Because here's the thing about ideas and coincidence, right? I might have this idea, and all of my clients, every single one of my clients has what we call an idea book. And what I have them do is when they get an idea, they write it in the book. And so in that idea book, and they're instructed, you don't act on them, you don't do anything with them right away, they just sit there. So you get to take them out of your head, put them on the paper, preserve them, and then when a coincidence, an opportunity comes up, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I had an idea about that, and then you have that to go back to. But see, that's how that stuff all goes full circle. You have the idea maybe at a time when you don't really need it, but God knows that you're going to need it later. And so he gives you the information, he gives you the download, he gives you the idea, he gives you the solution before you're ever presented with a problem. And so then when the problem comes or the opportunity comes, you already have the solution there ready to go and you're primed. But we have to be in tune to those things. So farm your brain for ideas, don't edit them. Be open to making mistakes. That's where the whole don't be afraid to color outside the lines. Like, I promise you, if you color outside the lines, your paper will not catch on fire. Nobody's going to judge you. Nobody, it's not like you're not going to get your hand slapped like when you was a little kid. They're like, stay in the lines, stay in the lines. No, I challenge you. For those of you who are adult colorers, I challenge you to get a coloring book and intentionally color outside the lines. Intentionally use colors that don't make sense. Make purple horses and orange trees or whatever the case may be, but be intentional and be strategic about doing something that's completely outside the box, something that defies logic. Logic would tell you that if I'm coloring a picture and then there is a tree planted in the ground with the sky above, that the sky should be blue, the sun should be yellow, the grass should be green, the trunk of the tree should be brown, and the leaves should be a darker green than the grass. That's what logic tells us. I challenge you, however, to do something different. And don't make the sky blue. Make the sky, I don't know, pink. Make the sun red. Make the tree purple. Make the trunk of the tree pink. I don't care what colors you use. The point of this is we have to stop thinking in a one-dimensional way. Like, there's more than one way to do everything. And we get so tunnel vision, and that's how we end up losing some of that creativity and that desire to just explore. What's going on, Erica? Hey, Mark. Thanks for joining me, you guys. And then the final thing is just stop making excuses. There's really not a reason that you can't be more creative. So when people say to me, if I'm helping them with helping them write a book, so I do author coaching too, and also do ghostwriting. Well, if I'm working with a client and I'm ghostwriting for you, I'm relying on you to be able to communicate your story. It's for me to then take your words and give them life and express them in a way that you would do it. So that's my creative genius, but I still need you to be able to tell me the story in a way that allows me to get inside your head. And the same thing if I'm coaching you as an author when you're writing a new book. One of the hardest things authors get hung up on is they get stuck on the contents page. And I'm guilty. I did the same thing my very first book. So this is not judgment at all. What's going on, Jay? Hey, Kevin. Thanks for joining me, guys. So it's not judgment about getting stuck in the writing process. We've all been there. The point is that you can be strategic about exercising some of these things to decrease the amount of times that you get stuck. And so, like I was saying with the authors, I tell them to write their contents page last. I'll maybe have them do an outline so they have an idea of what they want to discuss in the book. But your contents page, we don't do that until last, because what I found is that as I'm working with new authors and I'm helping them create their books and write their content, that they get so stuck at the contents page that they forget about the contents. Does that make sense? They're so caught up that it stifles their creativity. They're stuck. They're like, oh, but this doesn't make sense. It doesn't have to make sense. Just write. And we'll put logic to it after we build out the creativity. So those are some tips on how you can actually increase your sensitivity to intuition, to be able to be more responsive to God winks, and allow your right brain to have a little bit more freedom if you are a truly diehard left brain person, which I was a banker, which you would think would be left brain, but I'm very much a right brain person. So all that brouhaha and fluffy stuff, and like I eat all that stuff up, and then the numbers things make me crazy because I'm not a left brain person. So those are some tips for being able to be aware of the God winks. Just don't be afraid to color outside the lines. Go out, get you a coloring book, color in colors that don't make sense, color outside the lines, defy logic, and just have fun and enjoy the creative process. And when you get an idea, write it down. Don't criticize it, don't critique it, and don't even try and do anything with it, because it might just be a download for something else. It might be a God wink for something that's yet to come. All right, guys, I hope you all have an amazing night, and we will talk soon. As always, in the meantime and in between time, thanks for living life on Mars.